Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well folks, it's time to return to the Pokemon movies. And this episode requires a bit of backstory. Now, mainly the reason for me blogging some of the Pokemon films this year was courtesy of the newest Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu, which was still a great movie in my eyes. But after blogging Arceus and the Jewel of Life, I've made it a goal for myself to look at the other Pokemon movies from the Sinnoh season. Also, I did manage to blog the Zoroark movie, and while that film was part of the Sinnoh season, it wasn't exactly canon with Arceus' movie. But anyway, we're wasting enough time, so let's just cut to the chase. Released in Japan on July 19, 2008, and released a DVD in North America on February 13, 2009, the movie is Pokemon, Giratina and the Sky Warrior. So, let's get started. When scientist Dr. Newton Graceland discovers a parallel universe known as the Reverse World, inhabited solely by the Pokemon Giratina, he plans to harness its power. Although Graceland abandons this idea, his evil assistant Zero secretly plots to capture the Reverse World for himself. In order to stop him, Graceland enlists Pokemon trainers Ash, Dawn, and Brock to help Giratina stave off the treacherous Zero while helping a Pokemon called Shaymin to the Flower Garden. So, what are my thoughts? Now, I don't really hate this movie, but at the same time, I didn't really love it either. So, I consider this movie to be a meh. But let me explain in my Mustang notes. Now, I don't think there's much trivia here, but I think this movie was used to promote the Pokemon Platinum games. But, what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, like most of the other Pokemon movies I've talked about, the animation is still very good, and while most of it is outstanding Japanese hand-drawn, there are a few CGI effects at times, like Zero's airship, for example. Also, in my eyes, the Reverse World, where Giratina lives, is really interesting. Even if the visuals make it look like something out of Inception or Doctor Strange. Plus, the gravity kind of varies in different areas, and there are also clouds of toxic smoke in certain parts as well. Also, the only way Giratina can go out from the Reverse World into the real world is from anything mirror-related, like water or glass. Anyway, that's all I have for Mustang notes, so let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Our hero, Ash Ketchum, is, again, voiced by Sarah Natochenny. And, by the way, this movie's dub title was first revealed on her resume. Anyway, in my eyes, Ash is still a great character and a great Pokemon trainer, but throughout this movie, Ash has to put up with so much crap courtesy of Shaymin. Also, I do like Ash's other Pokemon, like Turtwig, Chimchar, Staravia, Weasel, and Gliscor. Next is Ash's best friend and partner, Pikachu, vocalized by Iku Otani. Now, I've been saying many times on my show that Pikachu always brings a smile every time he's on screen, and I really love Pikachu's loyalty. Plus, its electric attacks and Iron Tail are awesome moves. Next are Ash's traveling companions, Brock and Dawn, voiced by Bill Rogers and Emily Jennis. To me, they're both still great friends. However, in this movie, Dawn acts like a mother figure to Shaymin, and, well, Brock does remind Ash to wash his hands before eating in one scene. Also, Brock still gets on my nerves whenever he flirts with another girl like Nurse Joy. But, thankfully, his Krogunk stops him by using Poison Jab on him. But also, aside from said Krogunk, I do like Brock's Sudowoodo and Happiny. Also, Dawn's Pokemon like Piplup, Baneri, Pachirisu, Ambipom, and Swinub are great as well. Next we have Team Rocket's Jesse, James, and Meowth, voiced by Michelle Knotts and Carter Cathcart. To me, these three are still shenanigans. They do start out pretty promising by attempting to kidnap Shaymin, but they do end up getting sucked into the reverse world. But at least they do some good when they assist Dr. Graceland in one scene. Next we come to our main Pokemon, Shaymin, voiced by Amy Pallant, who voiced Murta in the 4Kids dub of Winx Club. Now, Shaymin is known as the Gratitude Pokemon, and in my opinion, while it does look cute, I don't really like how it treats Ash throughout this movie. I mean, Shaymin acts like an ungrateful brat, as well as a whiny coward. It even eats Ash's pancakes and burps a cloud of black smoke in Ash's face. But at least its sky form makes up for it. Because, in that form, thanks to some Gracidia flowers, it acts very brave, outgoing, and friendly. Plus, Shaymin's battling skills are really badass. Next is our title Pokemon, Giratina. At first, Giratina seemed like an antagonist while it was fighting Dialga due to the pollution that it caused, while Dialga and Palkia were fighting in Alamos Town. However, the battle had a frightened Shaymin caught in the middle of it, and after Shaymin used Seed Flare, Dialga trapped Giratina in a time loop, rendering it unable to move to the real world on its own. Giratina then desires to capture Shaymin and utilize its Seed Flare to create another portal to the real world, thus shattering Dialga's time loop. To me, while Giratina isn't much of a main character compared to Shaymin, I still think it looks very badass, just like in the Pokemon Platinum game. Plus, according to the Pokédex, it is very aggressive and violent. Plus, its roar kinda sounds like Mothra from the Godzilla franchise. But despite this, it holds a very gentle side to those who help it, and it is very protective of the reverse world, which is its home. We also have Regigigas. This Pokemon is the master of Hoenn's legendary Titan trio, Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. In the movie, Regigigas lives in a temple in the mountains of Tenyi Village, and has been asleep for centuries, subsequently having moss growing all over its body. However, when Zero entered the reverse world and began shattering pillars of ice within it, the glacier in front of Regigigas' temple suffered catastrophic explosions and began shifting. This disrupted its slumber and roused Regigigas into action. It commanded a whole herd of dozens of Mamoswine to hold the glacier back. once the crisis was resolved, Regigigas returned to its temple. Next is our supporting character, Dr. Newton Graceland, voiced by Mark Thompson, who voiced in Pokemon Forever, The Power of Us, and Zoroark, Master of Illusions. Newton has a strong, almost obsessive interest in the reverse world, but this led him to design the Megaric, which is a machine that would allow him to travel between the real and reverse worlds at the expense of Giratina's freedom. After realizing the potential for harm, Newton quickly deleted the prototype's blueprints. When Ash and Dawn first met Newton, they found him to be a bit boastful after he noted that he was the top reverse world researcher in the world. They quickly came to respect him after he helped them navigate the hazards of the reverse world and willingly shared his knowledge with them. Also, Newton is a master of machinery. His expansive backpack was shown to contain numerous robotic arms, which appear to be able to move seemingly at will in order to manipulate objects or type on a computer keyboard. He also utilizes a small handheld computer and a high-tech viewing lens, although both are handled by the robotic arms. The small handheld computer guides Newton in his adventure in the reverse world, and it also shows the location of the portal. Also, I think Newton's Shieldon is pretty cool. Finally, we have our villain, Zero, voiced by Christopher Cromer. Zero is shown to be brilliant but very troubled. He is emotionally unstable, obsessive, and narcissist, as well as simultaneously seeing himself as having a righteous cause in protecting the reverse world, but also viewing himself as its king. For most of the movie, he is calm and conducts his plan with great confidence. But as he encounters mounting opposition, he gradually loses his composure until he is reduced into a screaming, maniacal wreck. After realizing his defeat, he eventually accepts his fate with dignity, and he willingly goes to prison, where he is later seen to have recovered significantly. Also in this movie, his Pokemon consist of Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone. And now for my final words. Overall, Giratina and the Sky Warrior isn't the best Pokemon movie in my eyes, but I think it's the weakest movie in the Sinnoh Trilogy. Sure, the animation is great, and the battles are very hardcore, not to mention the fact that the reverse world is very cleverly designed. Ash and the gang are still good. Giratina is a badass, despite not having as big a lead role. Plus, Newton Graceland was a great supporting character. However, my biggest problem with this movie is Shaymin, when it acts like a bratty baby. And if you ask me, its sky form is way better than its land form. Plus, the villain Zero is a mentally insane madman. So, I think this is one of the rare Pokemon movies that I wouldn't really recommend for every Pokemon fan or Japanese anime fan, but it can't really hurt to watch this movie at least once in a while. So, I give this movie a 63% out of 100. So, I guess you guys are probably asking, when will I get my chance to blog The Rise of Darkrai? Well, the answer is pretty darn obvious, because, like the cartoon hero did, I'm planning to blog this movie around October. Anyway, that's all for now. Be sure to join me again for my next blog, where I take a look at an underrated Disney midquel. Mustang Power.